Hello everybody, welcome to the third episode of TensorFlow. In this episode, we will be talking about TensorFlow for mobile and IoT. It is also called as TensorFlow Lite. It is a lightweight library for deploying models on mobile and embedded device. So let's get started. TensorFlow Lite, which is for mobile and IoT, the working is very simple. How? Let us see how it works. What you have to do is you have to pick up a model. That means if you have any core TensorFlow model existing, you have to convert that into TensorFlow Lite with the help of TensorFlow Lite converter. After converting, you get a .tf file. This .tf file you have to upload to your mobile device and then or any embedded device. Then you can quantize that and you can optimize. So that is the overview of TensorFlow Lite. Now let us go into the TensorFlow Lite guide. Now firstly we'll see the guide. In guide we'll go for TensorFlow Lite consists of two components, that is the interpreter and the converter. This section is also called, that means TensorFlow Lite is also called as machine learning at edge, because our mobile device or our embedded device, they are actually on the edge. And we get these examples, that means there is no latency, no privacy issue, no connectivity issue, or no power consumption issue. Now let us jump to get started. As I told you in the previous episode that we are watching this particular thing in our simple TV, which is connected with which is actually connected with this thing, which is called as now we have to go to get started. So we are connected to a device which is having no computation power, because I want to show that everything can run from the browser itself. Now for TensorFlow Lite, you have to choose a model. That means in core TensorFlow, choose a model, convert the model, pre-train it, convert it, and retrain if you like, and then you can use it. So how you can convert? You can use a converter object, tf.lite, tf-lite converter, and you can specify the directory where your core model is saved, and then you convert into the target model, which is the Lite model, and this Lite converted file you can write as tf-lite model, right? So you have different options. Either you have save model directory, that is the core TensorFlow, you have a frozen graph, or you are having a Keras HD5 model, or you have something which is there in session in tf.session, right? Now we'll go to an example where you have the Android quickstart. So in Android quickstart, what you require Android Studio, you require an Android app, and you require a dependency in Gradle, and you have to mention the configuration, and you can build TensorFlow Lite locally. So how it works, let us see with our model. So we'll go to image classification example. So it has taken us to the GitHub of TensorFlow repository, and here what you have to do is you have to clone. What is the requirement? You should have Android Studio 3.2, Android device which is developer mode USB debugging enabled, and a USB. This all of you know. Then you clone your GitHub repository with the help of git clone GitHub TensorFlow example. So on your local device you will get the example. Then you open it in Android Studio and make the project, and then you run the app. So after running the app, whatever Android device you have connected in debugging mode, it will run. So this is the example of your Android application. Now I will go back and we'll go for the iOS quick start. So in the iOS quick start, what you require is either you can go for Swift, or you can go to Objective-C, or even the Bazel developers, they have these options. Now we jump to our example. When we will open the example, we are again guided to the GitHub repository. In the GitHub repository, what are the requirements? We should have some device which is having iOS 12.0 or above, Xcode 10 or above, Apple ID, developer ID you should have, Xcode command line tool you should have. We should have CocoaPod, where you can run bash sudo gem install CocoaPod. So you'll get this, and then you build and run your iOS device. So after seeing this, we'll go back to the third thing, which is Python quick start. So Python quick start is for all kind of other embedded hardwares, maybe a Raspberry Pi, maybe some other devices. So if you want to run a light TensorFlow on Python, you should install pip3 install TF Lite runtime. So that will be installed. So these are the different specification for different ARMs, right? Then you can run import TensorFlow as TF, so it will read like this. You are doing like this, it will read like this, and interpreter also it will read like this. Okay, so that is all about the different platform where you can run TensorFlow Lite. Now what is a TensorFlow Lite converter? That we'll see. A TensorFlow Lite converter converts your core file into .tf file, right? So this is your diagram. Basically you have TensorFlow APIs, right? And TensorFlow Lite, it converts it into the now what is Python API for TensorFlow Lite, that we'll see. So these are the Python API guide. right? So these are different methods which are there. So if we take an example, so this is an example of Python. Now we jump to straight away to one RNN model, because RNN model is very famous. So recurrent network model. So these are the different methods which are there. Some of them which are not currently supported, so it is there. So this is all about the overview of the TensorFlow Lite. I hope you might have got an idea about what is TensorFlow Lite. So in this, you can jump to different models, different APIs, guide, etc. So thank you all. In the next episode, we'll come up with something else, maybe something in image processing, maybe something in OpenCV. So thank you all for watching this episode.